What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BJ, the DJ. You are now tuned into the rewrap. This is episode 14. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. The rewrap's available on all major streaming platforms, and if you haven't tapped in with them guys at Over the Top with Chad and Tony, make sure you do so now. You can catch me on there as a recurring guest talking about movies and nostalgic wrestling. Episode 14. Let's get to it. So, a couple episodes ago, I talked about the Apple Music's top 100 greatest albums of all time, and I talked about how I felt like hip-hop was completely misrepresented on that particular list. What I'm looking at today, and what I want to cover today, is the Forbes 50 greatest rappers of all time. Now, I love this list because it is specifically focused on hip-hop and on rappers. If you think I was hard on the Apple Music top 100 greatest albums of all time, wait till you hear this list here. Now, I do feel like there were a lot of really good rappers represented well on here. However, from the jump, if we're going from 50 to number one, from the jump, this list is an absolute travesty. Looking at the first 10 from 50 all the way to 40, you're going to feel like there are several rappers on here that will be completely disrespected. So let's get to it. Again, love this list being specifically focused on rappers and focusing on hip hop. So coming in at number 50, Talib Kweli, one of my favorite rappers. Aside from Get By, I loved his the second album, The Beautiful Struggle. Aside from Get By, really that's the song that put him on the map in his work with Kanye early on when Kanye was first getting started. I do feel like Talib Kweli is very underrated and underappreciated as a rapper. Coming in at number 50, I don't feel like that warrants him justice in his ability and his talent and his skill as a rapper, especially when you start seeing what's coming up in the 40s. This is completely disrespectful to Talib Kweli. I think, his style of hip hop has been one that's kind of kept him at the on the outskirts of the GOAT list or whatever, but I do feel like he's a very underappreciated rapper. Definitely think he deserves his flowers. I think he's great. I love the work he did with Black Star, with Mos Def, who I don't think is on this list. Yes, he is. He's higher up. But I definitely feel like 50 for Talib Kweli is disrespectful, considering coming in at 49, you got Young Thug. Outside of Lifestyles, I can't tell you one song that Young Thug has done. So, and you're telling me that Young Thug's a better rapper than Talib Kweli. There is not a metric out there where you can tell me Young Thug is better than Talib Kweli in any way, shape, form, or fashion. So, off the rip, disrespectful. Got Talib Kweli at 50, Young Thug at 49, coming in at 48. Cardi B. Now, I do feel like Cardi B is one of the dopest female rappers in the game right now. However, Cardi B doesn't write any of her own music whatsoever. So I don't feel like Cardi deserves to be ranked higher even than Young Thug. Like, I feel like if you're gonna be listed as one of the greatest rappers of all time, one of those metrics to measure that has to be the fact that you are a writer of your own stuff. And I know people are gonna say Drake's probably on this list, and it's been rumored Drake doesn't write his stuff. I guarantee you, for the majority of the songs that Drake has recorded, he was the writer of those songs. So I don't feel like Cardi B deserves to be ranked higher than Talib Kweli in any kind of way. However, if you're going to put her on this list, you need to put her somewhere around where she's at 48. But I do feel like Talib Kweli should be ranked higher still. 47, Chief Keef. This is another person I don't feel like deserves to be ranked on a top 50 list whatsoever. Outside of Don't Like, I can't tell you one song that Chief Keef has ever done in his life. And even then, his verses on that, I know he's huge in the drill rap scene in Chicago, but I just don't get the hype around Chief Keef. So definitely don't put him above Talib Kweli in any shape, form. I don't put him above Cardi. So that's what they got him at 47. They got Chief Keef. I don't know who's doing this list or where they got this from. They probably just, threw a rock and thought, oh yeah, Chief Keef, he was popping at one time. Let's throw him on this list because I don't feel like he deserves to be in the top 50 whatsoever. But anyway, 46, Push T. I'm a huge Push fan, and I think he's another very underrated underappreciated MC, especially when you had a lot of carbon copies of Push out here talking the dope talk and doing the dope music. He was one that kind of solidified that era of music, right? Brought it in, started it. He talked about it on Mr. Me Too or whatever with Clips, and Clips is another one of my favorite groups. Huge fan of Push, man. I think 46 might be a little low for him. I do kind of feel like he deserves to be a little higher on this list. I don't exactly know where, because there are some here that, fluctuate. I mean, there are some here that, definitely are probably ranked a little too high, but yeah, Push for one I think is a little low on this list at 46. 45 they got MIA. Again, outside the Paper Plane song, this is another one hit wonder. I can't tell you anything MIA has done other than like the Swagger Like Us song with T.I. and everybody. I don't feel like MIA is a better rapper than Pusha T, Chief Keef, Cardi B, Young Thug, or Talib Kweli whatsoever. How in the world MIA made it on this list is beyond me. So they got her coming in at 45, and I don't agree with that whatsoever. 44, they got Takeoff. The Migos as a whole are a really, really dope group, and I feel like they helped usher in this new era of music that's going on now with, I wouldn't call them mumble rappers. I think Migos kind of had a sound that was unique to them. Individually though, I don't feel like they deserve a spot on this top 50 list, but collectively, if we're talking about top 50 groups, I think they would probably be in the top 10 as a group. But individually, I'm not, I don't see that, coming in at 44, they got Takeoff. And you're also telling me, again, at this point, you're telling me Takeoff's a better rapper than Pusha T and Talib Kweli. I'm not buying that. So 43, they got Melly Mel. Next, we won't even talk about that. 42, they got Prodigy. Again, this is another one I feel like is ranked a little low. Prodigy, RIP Prodigy, Mobb Deep. Again, another dope group. And we'll cover Mobb Deep a little bit more in depth when it comes to the duos episode coming up. Prodigy definitely deserves to be on this list. I'll say that. And if you're looking at Mobb Deep as a whole, Havoc handled the production side. Prodigy was the one with the bars. I do feel like Prodigy deserves to be on the top 50 list. And this might be around the spot where I think I would put him based on who I see on here, but there are a lot of people on this list out of place. And as we get into it, you'll see. But yeah, Prodigy definitely deserves to be on the list. Huge fan of Mobb Deep, Quiet Storm. Even their work they did with G Unit, I thought was great. So big fan of Prodigy. We lost him way too early. RIP Prodigy, shout out Mobb Deep. So 41, Lupe Fiasco. Big fan of Lupe Fiasco. Loved his first album and loved every project he did after that. I felt like he had an opportunity to take over as that next great lyricist in hip hop, and I don't know when the momentum stopped for him. But I remember like after the Superstar song, it just kind of fell flat. Nothing he did after that was meaningful in a sense, like for radio. But it was still dope. If you're a Lupe fan, you still loved and appreciated those albums. So yeah, definitely glad to see Lupe on this list. 41, I'm not upset about that at all. But when I look at this group as a whole, this 41 through 50, I think, probably out of there, Lupe is probably the most lyrical, and probably the best rapper out of that group. So, number 40, they got Bad Bunny. I know Bad Bunny is a huge international star, right? I don't necessarily consider him a rapper. I don't know what his music is classified as, but I know internationally that man moves units. He sells records. He sells big songs. So, I'm not upset with him being on the list. But I'm not going to say, if we're basing it on rap ability or whatever, I'm not putting him above Lupe. I'm not putting him above Pusha T, and I'm definitely not putting him above Talib Kweli. But, overall, if they want to throw him on the list, I'm not against it. I just don't really understand it. I don't really consider him a rapper, but, I don't know what his music is classified at. 39, I got Method Man. Now, I've done an episode where I put Method Man in my top 10, and I do feel like 39 is really low for Method Man. Method Man is probably one of the greatest rappers of all time. One of the top 10 for sure, in my opinion. And there are some ranked ahead of him right now that I'm just not agreeing with. So I feel like 39 is really low for Method Man on this list. 38, E40. I'm a fan of 40. He's not for everybody, and I get that. I do feel like he deserves to be on this top 50 list. 38, not really not really mad at that, I don't think. I don't listen to a lot of E40's music, but I am a fan. I'm a fan of what he has done for the West Coast. I'm a fan of how he created his own slang. I'm a fan of how he has really taken a style and molded it for himself that nobody can duplicate. So shout out 40. Yeah, big fan of E40. I think, yeah, he definitely deserves to be on this list. And, based on some of the ones ranked ahead of him, I feel like he could probably go a little higher. But yeah, I'm not mad about where he's at on the list. 37, Rock Marciano. Now, Rock Marciano, if you don't know who he is, or if you're not familiar with his work, he's a member of the Flip Mode Squad. I mean, I would put him around that 40 to 50 range. I definitely don't feel like he's a better rapper than Lupe. I don't feel like he's a better rapper than Pusha T, and I don't feel like he's a better rapper than Talib. He for sure, in my opinion, is not greater than E40 or Method Man whatsoever. So, not mad about him being on this list, not upset whatsoever. And the thing is, I really haven't thought about who's not on this list. As to if he deserves to be on there instead of someone else. But, he's on the list. I wouldn't have him this high. I'd probably have him in the 40 to 50 range. But overall, they've got him at 37. It is what it is. 36, we get MC Light. For a long time was the dopest female rapper to ever touch a mic. Back then when MC Light, in the 80s and early 90s, MC Light was the coldest female out there. Nobody could touch her, and she was doing songs where she would get real lyrical with what she was talking about. She was she was the female version of like a B-boy, like an MC type thing. And, I definitely think she deserves to be on this list. Out of all the females I see on this list right now, I would put her as like probably the fourth best female on this list. And there's some on here that, are well deserving. But yeah, definitely would put her on this list. MC Light, very dope female, one of the OGs, 36. That's where they've got her. I'm not upset about it. 35, LL Cool J. LL Cool J falls right outside of my top 10 as far as favorite rappers go. His Mr. Smith album alone was enough for me to put him in my top 10, top 15 or whatever, right? That album, what it did in the 90s, man, there was not a song off that album that wasn't constantly being played on radio, wasn't constantly being played on MTV. So I think 35 is very disrespectful for LL Cool J. I don't think any of these ones in the next few spots, aside from Busta Rhymes, probably deserves to be ranked higher than LL Cool J. So 34, they've got Childish Gambino. I don't think he deserves to be on the top 50 list whatsoever. 33, they've got Future. Again, I don't consider Future a rapper. I know he's placed in a rap category. He does songs that are rap-like, and he does a lot of collaborations with rappers. I don't feel like Future deserves to be on the top 50 rapper list, but they got Future at 33. Of course, Future moves units. Future sells records. He's got a cult following. But yeah, they got him at 33. I don't think that's deserving. I think he needs to be lower than that. Especially, you're telling me Future's a better rapper than LL Cool J, Method Man, E40, Lupe Fiasco, Pusha T, Talib Kweli. Well, I don't know what your metrics are, but I don't think in any world Future's a better rapper than any of those guys, especially when his topics are very limited. Let's see here. 32, Busta Rhymes. Again, this is a travesty. Busta Rhymes deserves to be in the top 25 spot easily. I don't think there are too many rappers out there that can hold a candle to what Busta Rhymes is capable of doing. And, longevity in the game and style-wise, he is very unique, very original, and has been very consistent for many, many years. So having him at 32 is an absolute disaster. I don't feel like that's responsible whatsoever for this list. 31, Mos Def. Again, put him in the same category. I'll put Talib Kweli. Very underrated, very underappreciated. Mos Def is a very, very dope lyricist. And, he didn't put out near as much product as Kweli did, or Pusha, or some of these other guys ranked right under him. But style-wise, uniqueness, I feel like Mos Def deserves to be in the top 30. I know he's right outside at 31, and I'm not mad at that. But we'll get into some of these ones that ranked higher than him that, again, didn't write their own lyrics. So I think that that deserves for most to get a little push right there. So 30, we got Queen Latifah. And like I was talking about MC Light, there are some females on this list that are more deserving than her. It should be ranked higher. Queen Latifah is definitely one of them. And I know we didn't get much material from Queen Latifah, after the mid 90s. But what she did in the 80s, she was the counterpart to what like Public Enemy were doing in Brand Nubian, Tribe Called Quest, and guys like that. She was very pro-black with her lyrics, very pro-woman with her raps. Definitely was a trailblazer in a sense for the female rapper and how they looked and how they rapped and how they acted. She also would transition into acting, which was even bigger for her, doing both television and also movies. So Queen Latifah coming in at number 30, I think that's justified. And I kind of like that spot for her as well. So 29, we got Dr. Dre, and this was where I was talking about rappers who are names but may not write their own raps. I don't think Dr. Dre has ever written a rap a day in his life, and I love Dr. Dre. If we're talking about a producer list, a top 50 producer list, Dr. Dre would be at the top of that without a question. Having him here at 29 doesn't make much sense considering he doesn't write any of his music. So I would slide Dre down, slide a few people up to kind of make this look a little bit different, right? 28, we got Lauryn Hill. Huge Lauryn Hill fan, right? And we talk about the female MC. Like, she was one of the first rappers who didn't have to talk about sex or anything like that in order to be relevant. She was a true lyricist in every essence of the word, right? Definitely think she deserves to be on this. That Apple Music Top 100 Greatest Albums had her album ranked number 1 overall, which I did not agree with. And I was a huge fan of the Fugees album as well. So I think Lauryn Hill deserves to be in the mix, but I don't think it was the greatest album ever. Just like here, having her at 28, I'm okay with that. Definitely think she deserves to be on this top 50 list, and 28 may not be a bad spot for her. 27, we got Juice WRLD. Juice WRLD is another one who left the world earlier than expected. He left a following. He left unreleased material that people could not wait to hear. He is definitely highly favored with this generation of listener. I'm not upset with this. I will say, however, I'm not familiar with Juice WRLD's music as much as I probably should be. Outside of the radio stuff that's out there and the stuff he's done with Eminem, haven't really pulled him into my listening preference just yet, but I will, because this isn't the first list where I've seen Juice WRLD ranked higher than some of these other people. So obviously there is there's an avenue for him, and there are people who really appreciate his music. So I'm going to check it out and get up on it and learn a little bit more about what he has done. Right. 26, MF Doom. MF Doom is another very underappreciated rapper. Underground guy. I'm not going to say he's better than LL, Method Man, Busta Rhymes whatsoever. But, putting him in that 35 to 45 range, I probably think would be a good spot for him, in my opinion. But yeah, MF Doom, very underrated, very, very dope lyricist. But yeah, got him at 26, MF Doom. 25, Ice Cube, definitely way too low. I don't even think we really need to talk about that. Ice Cube's top 15 easily. He's a top 15 rapper in any list you want to put him on, because he wasn't just a rapper, he was a writer. He also transitioned into movies. There was no NWA without Ice Cube in the beginning, right? There was, Cube. I mean, Cube has a catalog better than majority of the people on this list, right? If you look at Cube's catalog, Predator, America's Most Wanted, what he did with West Side Connection, NWA, like his catalog is solidified. Having him at 25 is not a good spot whatsoever. I do feel like Cube's top 15 all day, every day, right? 24, 50 Cent. As a rapper, I wouldn't say 50 Cent is not a great rapper, but 50 Cent found a way in the beginning to capitalize on his success, and he moved units quickly, and he moved units consistently for a good 4 to 5 year span, right? So yeah, definitely think 50 deserves to be on this list. But again, 24, I don't put 50 over Busta Rhymes. I don't put 50 over LL Cool J. I don't put 50 over Pusha T or Talib Kweli whatsoever, but I do feel like 50 deserves to be on this list, but probably not this high, right? 23, we got DMX. Love DMX. You know, one of the few rappers to drop 2 number one albums in the same year. Gave us Rough Rider Anthem. Gave us tons of great music. Really miss DMX. Yeah, really miss DMX. His energy, his sound is another one of these very unique artists. I put him in the same category as I would like a Busta Rhymes. You know, very unique, very molded in their style and their cadence and their lyricism. Very few people can do what they've done, right? And nobody's been able to duplicate their success and their style whatsoever. So, huge fan of DMX. Got him at 23. He's probably in that top 20 mix. You know, I kind of see where they've got him. 22, we got Big Daddy Kane. Again, Big Daddy Kane, old school guy, veteran in the game, one of the original lyrical rappers, would be considered lyrical. Not upset with Big Daddy Kane being on here, but again, I don't put him over Lauryn Hill. I don't put him over Cube. I don't put him over Bus. I don't put him over LL. I do think they got Big Daddy Kane ranked a little bit higher, right? 21, we got Rakim. Again, Rakim, God MC, right? Everyone considers him to be the pecking order. He's at the top of that. Rakim is very, very respected by his peers, and Rakim is one of the first ones to really incorporate lyricism and multiple syllable techniques in his music. 21, maybe closer to 25. Move Cube up, move Bus up, move LL up or whatever. I do think they got him a little high on this at 21. But again, I'm not mad at him being on this list whatsoever. He's probably in my top 25, I would say. Coming in at number 20, we got Common. I do feel like 20 is a little high. I do feel like he probably deserves to be in that 35 to 45-ish, maybe 50 range. After he left Good Music and quit messing with Kanye, I do feel like he lost a lot of leverage. Love the Corner. It's one of my favorite Common songs. I just don't feel like he's top 20 all time whatsoever. But I am a big fan of Common's music. 19, we got Ghostface Killah. I'm not upset about this. I like Ghost. I think out of all the Wu-Tang members next to Method Man, he's probably my favorite. Yeah. Coming in 19, Ghostface Killah, I'm okay with that. 18, we got Snoop. I love Snoop. As far as greatest rappers, I think Snoop's probably the most recognizable rapper. Again, he created the greatest debut album of all time with Doggy Style. I would put Snoop a little higher on this list, probably. Closer to 15. 17, they got Tyler, the Creator. I like Tyler. I like Tyler's music. I like Tyler better as a producer. I don't think Tyler deserves to be this high on the list at 17. I do feel like he should probably fall somewhere around that 25 to 30 range. 16, they got Lil' Kim. I would not put Lil' Kim this high on any list whatsoever. I do not feel like Lil' Kim is a better rapper than Lauryn Hill. I do not feel like Lil' Kim is a better rapper than Queen Latifah or MC Lyte. So whether or not she deserves to be on the list is one thing. I've never been a huge fan of Lil' Kim's music. I do feel like she was one of the first female rappers to do like the sexy rap. But yeah, I think I'd slide her down closer to the 50 range. I don't think she deserves to be this high whatsoever, considering also that Big wrote most of her lyrics on her first couple albums. 15, we got A$AP Rocky, way too high on this list. No way, shape, form, or fashion is he better than half the people on this list. Chuck D, again, innovative, racially charged lyrics, pro-black, no problem with that whatsoever, but definitely does not deserve to be the 14th best rapper on this list whatsoever. Again, most of these people aren't better than Busta Rhymes, and Busta Rhymes is sitting down there at 32. It's a travesty. So, let's see. 13, we got Missy Elliott. If you're going to put a female in the top 15, I do think Missy deserves consideration for that. She is one of the most creative female rappers ever. selling over 60 million records, producing for other artists, writing for other artists. Missy is definitely one of the GOATs, right? If not the GOAT when it comes to females. Number 12, Notorious B.I.G., definitely think Big Papa deserves to be in the top 15. 11, Andre 3000. The thing that always gets me about Andre 3000, I'm a huge fan of Outkast as a whole. I just don't feel like we got enough Andre 3000 by himself to justify him being considered one of the GOATs. Just my opinion, but I know some people put him up there top 5 easily. Not against it whatsoever, him being at 11. I just kind of feel like that's a little high. Number 10, we got Eminem. Now I get it. Eminem's not for everybody. Again, on my list, Eminem was number 1, and that's just because a lot of factors. That's me being a white rapper myself. Eminem really busted down doors for people like myself. Again, I know his lyrics aren't for everybody. I know his shock rap is not for everybody. And some people just flat out don't like the stuff he raps about. But he's the highest selling rapper of all time. And I think he deserves to be in the top 10, period, in any list of greatest of all time. I do feel like based on the people they've got ahead of him, I could see him landing somewhere around that 3rd or 4th spot because, there's a bunch of juggernauts in these next 7, 8 slots, right? Coming in at number 9, they got Nas. I think this is disrespectful. You've got Nas at 9, 10. You got Nas at 9, and you got Eminem at 10. You put Nicki Minaj at 8. If there was a female going to be in that top 10 slot, I feel like it should be Nicki. Over 100 million sold. Nicki's the highest selling female artist of all time. Nicki deserves to claim that GOAT status for the female rapper, right? So putting her in the top 10, I am 100% in favor of that. But you're not going to put her over Nas, and you're not going to put her over Eminem whatsoever in any list. I don't even think you put her over the Notorious B.I.G., to be honest. But yeah, I think Nicki deserves to be in the top 10, but I do feel like she is overranked several others who deserve to be higher. So number 7, we got Kanye West. I've already said how I feel about Kanye West. After College Dropout, I feel like, it was all downhill from there. Late Registration was dope. Graduation was probably his last legit album for me. I didn't really listen to too much Kanye West after that. Number 6, you got Drake. I've got Drake at number 5 on my top 10 list of all time. Having Drake up there, Drake is this generation's M, this generation's J. I think he definitely deserves to be in that top 10 spot. Number 5, you got Tupac. Tupac's not even in my top 10. And it's just because what I didn't like was after Machiavelli, you had a bunch of put together albums and it wasn't genuine Tupac music. Some of these songs weren't even songs that Tupac would make. Some of it were people he wouldn't even work with. So I do feel like that hurts Tupac and Biggie's situation just a little bit when it comes to, putting them in a top 10 list. So, but they've got Pac up there at 5. Not to say it's a bad thing. I just don't feel like I feel like he should be a little lower than that. Number 4, you got J. Cole. I'm a big fan of Cole. I feel like he's the greatest rapper of this generation outside of Drake. Number 3, Lil Wayne. You'll see Lil Wayne at the top of a lot of people's lists. Big fan of Wayne. Wayne's definitely top 10 all time. Some put him at the GOAT. Definitely feel like Wayne deserves to be on this list. I feel like, that top 10, the whole top 10 section here, could be, either or pretty much. Number 2, they've got Kendrick Lamar. I don't agree with this one. I feel like Kendrick is way too high on this list. Kendrick to me is not a better rapper than Wayne. He's not better than Cole. He's not better than Kanye, Drake, Nas. He's not better than a lot of these people. But people are piggybacking off this Not Like Us song, and they are making it sound like it's the greatest thing ever invented. And it's not. It's mid at best. It's not. It's a decent song, but you guys are overhyping it a lot. So, and you're putting Kendrick in these positions. You put Good Kid, Mad City at number 6 on that greatest Apple Music list of all time, and now you've got Kendrick here at number 2 behind Jay. And I don't agree with that whatsoever. Kendrick's way too high on this list. Number 1, we got Jay-Z, the GOAT, the man, the myth, the legend himself. I do feel like I'm not upset whatsoever with Jay. Even if M is my number 1 on my personal list, I do feel like Jay deserves to be at the top of this list. Jay is my number 2. But, huge fan of Jay-Z. I don't think Jay-Z has ever dropped anything bad whatsoever. The fact he doesn't write, he comes up with all this stuff in his head and he just gets in a booth and he makes it happen. Huge fan of Jay, man. I think Jay is the GOAT in every aspect of it. So a lot of misses on this one. If I thought the Apple Music list was bad, this is atrocious. But anyway, that's the top 50 list. It is what it is according to Forbes. Maybe they should stick to magazines and rating people's finances. I don't know, because ranking rappers is not their thing. That's what I got. It's BJ the DJ. We'll catch you on the B side.
Shaking